Hey guys, welcome back to Have Kayaking. Today, let's talk about rod holders. Let's see, this is the Passport 12.5, and what I have chosen is the Bass Pro HT 360s. They're a little lighter duty than some of the other ones out there. Scotty makes some nice rod holders as well that look similar. But for kayaking, I'm finding that these are working just great. So just a few things to keep in mind here. I've elected not to put them up on the H-tracks. There are nice accessories you can use to snap into those, but you'll notice a few things when you're in a kayak like this with the pedals. Your feet are in the way of where you'd probably want to put them. So the next thing is, in addition to your accessory, you get an extension, and then an extension, you've got your rod holder, and so your rods would be up here, which isn't a bad deal. But if you think about being out on open water and you flip your kayak, those big poles with your rods are going to be in the way. So I felt it was kind of an unsafe situation. Also, for netting a fish, you know, you've got those poles in the way. I just didn't want to have to deal with that. So after looking at other options, I chose putting them in the back here. Now, there's just a couple tips here I'll provide. These lock in place. This is how I would set up the rods on going out initially before I set up. You'll notice I didn't mount them parallel to the side rails. Got them off at a bit of an angle, and there's a purpose for that. When we look straight down on the rod holders, what I wanted to do was have my rod tips in my peripheral vision. So if something hits on the right, you know, I'm going to see that. Something hits on the left, I'm going to see that right away and be able to get the rod out. Another thing is, when you set these up, be careful to set one up the way you like it, so that one rod handle doesn't interfere with the other rod. Very important. So when I am actually fishing, I've made some modifications here. I have put a little groove in the ring. You can see the groove there. And so when it's in its locked position, that accepts the finger of the rod, holds it in place. Got my line counter facing me so I can take a quick peek at that. Same thing with this rod. There's my groove, my other groove. Lock that in place. Get that in there. Again, my line counter's facing me. And when a fish hits, it's pretty easy to grab these out and start fighting the fish. You might notice I've got left hand and right hand reels, and there's a purpose for that in the kayak. If you have the handles facing away from you, so when you pick it up, you're fighting a fish on the left side of the kayak, it's pulling like this, you can use your forearm and make use of the handle. So on the other side, I've got the same thing. I'd be grabbing the fish and grabbing the rod and fighting with the handle in my left hand and being able to crank with the right. You might also notice I put a groove on the back of the rod holders. You just do that with a hacksaw and a file, and that's going to accommodate your spinning reels. Putting this groove on the back of the rod holder serves another purpose. Again, you reach back to grab the rod, it comes out of here real easy and you start fighting your fish. Same thing on the other side, so keep that in mind as you're doing that. So last but not least, one of the nice features of these rod holders, there you go, you throw that in your cooler and put a little cap on. We've got this wonderful flush mount that makes it easy to still throw your kayak, whether you're putting it on top of your car or in J-hooks. You've got the rod holder off the kayak. It's also nice if you're taking a joyride, just going around the lake. You don't need to set up all your stuff, and it doesn't look like a fishing kayak. You're all set for a picnic and to do some exploring. Again, this is Dan from Have Kayaking. Have a nice day. Hope to see you out on the water.